issue here. We got a lot of problems here in California that need to be addressed, and it's relevant for the whole country. When I used to live in Tennessee, we would always look at California as a crystal ball of what's to come. Where goes California, so goes the rest of the country. Joe Collins, Navy vet, running for Congress in Maxine Waters' district in L.A. Joe, how are you, brother? How long has Maxine Waters been in Congress?
She's been in Congress, I think, a little over 30 years.
Unbelievable. That is so not how that's supposed to work at all. That's unreal. Hey, let's broaden it out. Let's talk about California. So I don't even know where to start, right? Let's start with crime. The people you're talking to in her district in particular, how bad have things gotten just these last few years?
It's gotten extremely bad. It's progressively gotten worse. I like to use that word progressively when we talk about, certain issues. But, we see a surge in gun violence and domestic violence and suicides here in the 43rd district. And these are issues that are not being addressed. And I think, according to the CDC, the numbers from gun violence is about the same. The death rate is about the same for COVID-19. And it's a shame that they're not shutting our cities down due to gun violence to be able to solve that issue. But, we're ran by Democrats. So what can you say?
What's the connection between that? Because it's a fact that all these cities and all the representations are run by Democrats. But what's the connection between run by Democrats and all these bad things that are going on in these districts?
Well, I can't say that the majority of inner cities, the majority of the major cities across the United States are ran by Democrats. Some of the most poorly ran cities and states in the country. I mean, you could look at here in Los Angeles, we have, Democrats that are running the city, Democrats that are, local and federal that have been there for a very long time. California, Los Angeles itself been run by Democrats for the last 60 years. And then we can, switch over to the opposite coast. And you got New York City, which is ran by Cuomo, is doing a terrible job. And, these are things that are going on across the United States, Chicago, Lightfoot. And this is just a poor representation from our legislators to the people. But I think it's the comfortability of people with the Democrat Party in the inner cities. And I think that's something that we have to be able to switch. But we can only do that by engaging people in these cities in a manner that makes them feel comfortable with having conservative and Republicans inner cities talking to them.
Yeah, talking about homelessness, totally out of control in California. And I saw Newsom the other day came out and said it's unacceptable for people to be sleeping in the streets. So you kidding me, Newsom? Are you kidding me? Based on what your leadership's been these last few years, what are you seeing?
Well, I think it's a huge hypocrisy. Gavin Newsom has contributed to the rising cost of living, and now he's saying that it's illegal to be homeless. And so I think he's going to have to do a little give and take if you want to be a really good legislator, make it past his recall effort. I mean, if you're going to make it illegal to be homeless, then go ahead and lower the cost of living so people can be able to afford housing. I think, according to Cal Matters, on any given day, it's over 160,000 people that are sleeping on the streets, of which only about 23% have mental health issues. And so we have to focus on that. The upper, 70% of the people who can work maybe do have some type of income, but can't afford to live.
Yeah, it's all hands on deck. There's lots of different things contributing to it. And I don't see anything out of the public sector working. We have a lot of programs here in San Diego and the private sector that don't take any government money that are doing incredible work and making a huge dent, but nothing. It's hard to overcome the government failures. How could they be screwing this up so badly?
Yeah, I have no idea. This is what happens when the Democrat Party run out of ideas, and they've been running out of ideas for a long time. It's like they try to put a Band-Aid over a blown off arm. It's not going to work. You have to do what it takes to be able to solve those issues, and that's lowering the cost of living, lowering the cost of development in California, actually getting some type of balance when it comes to the amount of Democrats, independents, and Republican legislators that we have. So we can have some people who are going to fight for common sense, and some people who are going to fight against all the bills that are getting shoved down the throats of Californians.
Fire, water, power. There's three things, well, four, I'd say police, which we just talked about, but three other things that the government is in charge of doing that everyone would agree on, no matter how libertarian perhaps you are, and that is provide electricity, provide fire protection, and provide water. And our government stinks at all three of those things, all four if you add the police. Explain to people how bad it is here on those last three and what we should do to fix them.
Yeah, it's extremely bad right now. We got fires ravaging throughout California, and they're blaming climate change. And I blame once again poor legislation. I think the power companies has a big part to play in the amount of fires that we've been having in California. If you look along the power line, the brushes is not being cleaned away from the power lines, and these type of issues. It'll spark actually if it gets too hot. It'll spark near the power lines, and then it'll cause raging fires. When it comes to water, our farmers have not been getting the water that they need in order to continue agriculture. And I heard recently that we haven't had any legislation being passed when it comes to infrastructure for water in the last 60 years. And I think that as time goes, so should our legislation. And this is something that hasn't been happening, in a very long time with our legislators.
Wow, that was deep and insightful. I want more of that.
Like, subscribe, get more.